My name is Keegan. I'm the program owner of AltspaceVR. Hello, 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 hello. It's so nice to see everybody. I haven't been in Altspace for a good week, so I think when I come back in here, I'm like, oh, gosh, this is nice. Hi, hi, people. Hello, person. Hi, person. Hello, hello. Um, so if it's your first time here, I've been with Altspace for about 5 years now, and it's been an absolute privilege, a wild ride during the last couple of years. So I try to host this event as often as possible so that our team can hear directly from you about the things you care about, the stories that you've had in Altspace. I can tell you what we're thinking about and what we care about. And hopefully those two beautiful things become a cyclone of awesome energy and creates the future of at least this part of the social VR universe. So I'll just tell you a little bit about what's been top of mind for us. It has been a really, really wild year, I think probably for everybody here in all your different circumstances. I hope all of you are staying safe, healthy, mentally healthy, if that's even a thing right now, as best as you can do. And hopefully this is a small little haven where you can find folks to chat with and interact with. But it's been a crazy year. So Altspace, since COVID, I think we we realized at least a small part that we played in trying to offer a place where people could have social interactions. So our main goal the past year is, one, make sure that things don't break, and then keep on with the things that we really cared about to make sure that they released on time. The biggest one recently, at least, that changed the experience pretty drastically is you could probably see it making eye contact with other people, where our new avatars, making sure that people had lots of different pieces to choose from and different ways that they could really represent themselves in Altspace. But then since we're now in what, September, October? Does it drive you crazy? It's almost October. This year is so weird, man. Ah, it's almost October. So what have we been doing recently? If you came the first week of September, you might have seen an awesome collaborative community experience called BRCVR, which was our small part in playing with the Burning Man universe and inviting that universe to partake in Altspace to try to offer a semblance of that amazing festival that people will journey into the desert for, including myself. And so that was, I think, a really awesome experiment to see what we could do. Yay for people that checked out BRCVR. Oh man, that really my gauge at the start of BRCVR was very, very full of very little liquid of spirit energy. And by the end of it, I felt a whole hell of a lot better. But I find that a lot when I come into Altspace, and I was just very thrilled by what BRCVR did. And I think that for me, the thing that we've been harnessing with our team was what we released a couple days ago, was looking at BRCVR, trying to look at the list of what you've told us that you care about. And I mentioned this to Kent Bai. I had the honor of talking to him a little bit ago, but he was asking us, like, how do we make sure that we're listening to the community as much as possible? We can always do better. But anytime that you submit a ticket, anytime that you tell one of our support staff and they're able to tell our team, especially submitting a ticket at help.altbr.com, that always goes into a very long list. But we try to prioritize as fast as possible. So a couple days ago, after BRCVR, we released a quality of life kind of update. So it had a bunch of fixes and things that I think we've heard from you for a while that you wanted to be a part of our Altspace. It introduced some changes to the world editor to hopefully make it easier. I know it's a learning curve, but everything we did with the world editor was to make it a little bit easier for you to create. We also added a here button so that you can favorite the space you're in. I can't tell you how often I heard, especially over Burning Man, but also from all of you, that you wanted to be able to go to a world that you had been in, and if you were the only person there, you wanted to favorite it. So that release a couple days ago. If you want to check out that full list, you can go to, I wish Carolina was here. There's I think on our Twitter, you can probably see the list too, but I'll find out by the end of this where you can go and see all those updates. But it's a good chunk of change for hopefully delighting folks here. So if I sound a little bit all over the place, I have to admit I am. Like, it's just been, I don't know if it's a mix of COVID and all of us in isolation, but I've had a hard week. So I'm going to start there. That it's been a hard week for me. But I've been really, Altspace has been something that I think has kept my spirits up. So when I come here too, I think it's a chance for me to experience the own delight too that we are able to create as a team. So if I seem a little all over the place, I am. Even somebody that runs a team at Microsoft is gonna lose herself a little bit. So with that though, I would love to hear not my own voice this entire time. So I do want to click on the hand raise panel. You're going to see a little hand raise button to your right that you are very, very welcome to click. Huh. Well, I thought I was going to click that, but it does not seem highlighted for me. I wonder if I am the host of this room. One moment. Well, there's any magical Altspace person here that sometimes checks in on me. I don't have access to click on hand raises, which is bumming me out. So I'm going to debug that for a moment and give you your voices back so you can chat. And then I am going to rejoin you so that you guys can ask questions. Uno momento.
So what is a program
I wish people could know if they were standing in front of you so they would leave and not stand in front of me. I hate when people do that. That's my name is my name. Not much. Yeah, I don't like it when people stand in front of me and I'm trying to do something.
You just did it on me.
I did it on
Hilarious.
you. I'm sorry. The guy was doing it to me.
Oh,
and
you
I was trying to get away.
Oh, you don't want me standing in front of you? Oh, my bad.
All right, take two. Sorry, everyone. All right, now I have the magical ability to click on hands. And also I apologize for folks that were in the second room. We had enough of a turnout that front row got enabled and I wasn't there, so I've left you here all alone. I'm very sorry, but it's nice to see you all now. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, I clicked on that hand raise button. I would love, so the thing I will ask is, I definitely want to hear the things that are of a concern or things you think my team needs to pay attention to. I am actually in VR, so I'm not writing stuff down. The best thing you can do with any bugs or anything that you want our team to follow up on is go to help.altvr.com. Then we won't lose it. Something I love to hear is partly maybe things about the experience that you love and delight you, and then things that might make that even better. That really helps me kind of structure how to best think about our experience. And if you have any questions for me about our vision and what we care about, where we're going, the things I care about, what I love for dessert, I would be happy to chat about that. So feel free. And if you haven't ever talked in a VR event, I really hope you know that this is a super safe place to do that. So if you just want to introduce yourself and say hi and just say, hey, I'm new, or maybe you've been here for a year and you still want to say, hey, I need some friends, this is also a great place for that. So please feel free to click that little button. So let's start off with, I'm going to guess Timon. That might just be the Lion King in me. Is there a Timon?
I'm here. Yes. Hi. Hello.
Hello. Nice to hear from you.
It's so weird to watch this show because I'm on 2D. I'm on a computer, and I'm watching myself on Facebook Live, which is freaking awesome. So that's one question that you pretty much answered today without even knowing. But now, what I wanted to say, Keegan, is that I've been trying to introduce Altspace to mainly South Africa and Greece via PDF guides, recorded videos, step-by-step guides, and through live events. And it's quite difficult, you know, just being one guy. So my main question is, what ideas do you have to advertise and market AltSpace, to introduce it and share exposure to other countries? And what platforms do you plan to use to create that awareness?
I think you're muted, Keegan. I think you might be on mute. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
How about now?
There you go. We can hear you.
I so love when people, so you don't even need to tell me a bug. Let's just discover them in my own events. That one though, oh, I was hoping we were figuring that one out. So, well, let's start off with my own feedback. Hey, AltSpace, whoever's running this thing, can you guys please fix the megaphone bug? Thanks. So on that note, thank you first for being somebody that really spreads the story about AltSpace. I think that that's one thing that our team has been really focused on, making a platform where people actually want to come back. Mute all. There it goes. Where people actually want to come back to. So a lot of our effort is focused on the people that are coming in right now, trying to learn as much as possible so that when we do kind of spread the word more or dedicate more marketing energy to it, that it's a platform that people do want to keep coming back into. I think that we found the kernel of that, which I think is always the hardest thing of any startup, which I still kind of think of myself as a startup within Microsoft. So that's the focus. But what gets interesting is then you find pockets of people that gravitate more towards AltSpace, like BRCVR. We didn't seek that out. That was somebody finding value in our platform and then inviting a community in. So I do think that there's a benefit to the culture of AltSpace if the people that love AltSpace invite their community in, whether it's their country or their community. And I think that you're doing that. We need to make it easier though. It's a little bit painful to hear that you have to build so much material to get people in. We should be making that easier for you. And so I do know that our team is focused on that question about how do we make it easier for people to get into AltSpace, to understand AltSpace. Us releasing on Mac was part of also trying to get rid of some of the obstacles to using the platform. So I think put the ownership on us to try to make that easier. And as for other countries, I'm really curious to see what happens. We did release our subtitles and our voice to text. It's only available in a couple events. It's a little bit expensive right now, which is one reason it's in a couple of events, but we've been trialing that out because I think that's kind of a prerequisite for us being a place where people around the world can really come into, so that if I come up to you, I can speak to you in any language and you can hear and understand me. So I think that we have some work to do to get that baseline done. But the best part is like somebody in another country can come and use AltSpace and try it out now. But I think to your point, we have some work to do. I hope that answers your question. Awesome. How about Robert777? Is Robert in the house? How about 110? No 110? I was talking for a while, so these people might have cut out. How about Zach? Do I have a Zach in the house? Hey, Zach. Nice hat.
Thanks. Hey, I want to thank you for this wonderful free resource. I moved my monthly meetup into AltSpace here when we were no longer able to meet in person. We were kind of thrown by a loop last month when the PC client was unable to view or see slides or control slides because there's no
Mhm.
web browser. What's the timeline for fixing that, and what's a good way to kind of communicate and troubleshoot on that other than the help desk, which sometimes isn't fast enough?
Yeah, it's a great point. I think the us losing browsers was unfortunately a long incoming but kind of thorn in our side that we just didn't want to do without having a good replacement for people. But for many reasons, and especially security reasons, it became we no longer had a choice. We had to remove that feature. But with the what is it called? The MMs. I'm gonna screw up the acronym, but the new tool that we're developing for slides and video, even though it again is very thank you for everybody that's beta testing it with us. We're getting a lot of that feedback, and I hope that you're seeing constant changes on that tool. So if you aren't using that or you want to be more plugged in, definitely our Discord has a channel where our engineers are watching it to make sure that they're making that tool more useful. But again, the last thing I want to do as any app is give you something, then take it away, especially something as necessary as slides. So it's very top of mind to figure out how to solve that problem. Cool. Thanks, Zach. Oh, and also thanks for bringing your meetup in here. I'm glad that you've been able to utilize it. How about Two Spirit? Are you around?
Hi, thanks for
Hello.
hosting this presentation.
It's very nice to meet you.
I wanted to advocate for extending the color selection to skin tones as well as for multiple body types and shapes. I'm part of PXR, PXR 2020 symposium that's starting this weekend and then next weekend. And so this has been my introduction to VR in general, which is really great. But some of the other POC BIPOC artists that are taking part in this symposium are having trouble finding skin tones and bodies that relate to our own, as well as hairstyles, Black individuals, Indigenous individuals. So I'd like to advocate that we extend the types of hair that we can have, and as well as the skin tones that we can have. I mean, we have some beautiful blue and purple people here today, and it'd be great to be able to choose my own skin tone.
First, awesome and amazing. I think that with our new avatar system, we worked really closely with the diversity and inclusion group within Microsoft to give us first round feedback, and it really reflects your own. So I think that we pushed where we were, but we need to do better. And I think that my goal, at least, like the thing I care about the most is that one, people feel really welcome here, and it's so hard to. I have a hope that us, if we are going to be a social media kind of place, that we try to do it better than maybe we've done in the past. And I think one way of doing that is going to be making sure that everybody feels welcome, everybody feels like they can reflect themselves. So I'm actually kind of curious that if you had, so body shapes, definitely. And I'm curious about skin tones. So you're not talking about different colors. Are you talking about different variations of more natural hues?
Yeah, and for hairstyles, you can pick your main color and your highlight from the color wheel, but that doesn't seem to be an option for skin tone. And it does have a selection that doesn't go as black as some of my friends, and as well as like, I think if we just had access to that same color wheel for that, then I think we'll be a lot more comfortable. I mean, at this point, it's kind of like drugstore makeup that's not really going for inclusion color spectrum.
I appreciate that metaphor.
Yeah.
No, it's good.
Yeah, I think, as well as like, I think people enjoy these blue and purple and funky colored skin tones, and we can be a bit more creative in that way.
No, I love that.
Yeah, so I just think I understand that feminine body types have been toned down, most likely to curb sexism and sexual harassment, but as well, the world needs to grow up, and we should be able to represent our feminine bodies. and I definitely understand, as well as I've experienced sexism and sexual harassment almost immediately, presenting in a flat-chested but hip body. But I think it's perfectly fine to include breasts and feminine forms, and I'm excited to see the growth of the avatars as they have already been from the start. It's been a long time since the Beaker days of avatars.
I appreciate everything that you just contributed. Thank you. I definitely feel like I have been on the front lines of trying to figure out how do you make sure that people that want to identify as womanly bodied, like how do we make sure that they also feel safe and included? So I have heard that feedback though, that hey, we've done at least the minimum so that people do feel safe. So it's like, how do we also allow people to have a more represented body types? When it does come to colors, I'll say that the thought behind offering at least the non-human skin tones is to offer a variety that doesn't make people feel uncomfortable or kind of ill, like kind of green colors and others we did some testing, and it just shows it makes people come in and they kind of feel like they're not in as much of a kind of thought through style. So that's one reason we started out with the colors that we do have. But I think that that feedback's really important, that we have to figure out a way for people to be able to choose from a variety of different colors, and hairstyles is definitely feedback we've heard. So thank you. I didn't mean to spend so much time on it, but it's a topic I care about. Cool. Thank you so much, Two Spirit. Let's see. How about Sophira?
Hi, I've been attending the AR VR virtual global summit today, and it's going on for the rest of the week. Saying that it's such an unbelievable way to showcase what's happening with VR. Will you actually be there at some point? I would love to hear a seminar, how you would present AltSpace to the rest of the world, because it is composed of people from all countries at the moment.
Of course. I think I need to check my calendar, but I think I will be there tomorrow at, I want to say 10:30, somewhere between like the 10 and 12 bracket. I'll be talking with folks from Meow Wolf, Burning Man, and a few other folks talking about kind of the future of live events and live entertainment when it comes to kind of living in the world of COVID. So definitely check out that panel. I'm really excited to talk with them.
I will be there tomorrow.
Cool. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. You as well.
How about, is there a magic show in the house?
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, Magic Show. I can hear you.
Hey, Keegan, how you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
Good, good. Hey, I had a question that's kind of in a similar wheelhouse. As far as, first off, AltSpace has been this great opportunity for people that are, traditionally come from underrepresented or underserved markets to kind of have a place of escape. But one of the things that, I know a lot of friends that I've met up with in here, I've had a question about is individuals that are like users, like I've become almost a daily user in here. When looking for kind of balance and representation or access to leadership, are there plans, for pathways to access? One of the things that we kind of experience in the world outside of AltSpace, has always been kind of that trouble accessing leadership, having ideas, enthusiastic users that are creators that are developing community actually within this space. Have you all ever thought about creating any programs or any connection points where people can bring about ideas that, can maybe help enhance the experience for everybody?
I am curious if you mean more for underrepresented groups specifically, or do you mean for just customer service in general?
Underrepresented groups,
Yep.
Specifically.
So it's a great question. We were talking so we're under the group Mixed Reality under Microsoft. So that's the group that's in charge of HoloLens and AR, VR. It's a really fascinating, very forward-thinking, spacey kind of group. And a couple days ago, I was talking to the representative. I was talking about our diversity and inclusion group within Mixed Reality. It has different representatives from hopefully every underrepresented group to be kind of a focal point to try to push mixed reality so that we aren't becoming complacent. And so we're talking specifically to the Blacks of Mixed Reality group to talk about how do we make sure that, one, we don't follow the same path of other social media, some of the pitfalls of social media, which is like creating bubbles, creating separation. How do we also be really representative of our own values? Like, I'm a queer woman that runs a tech team at Microsoft. Like, that is incredibly invaluable to me to make sure that we can use this platform as a place where people can express themselves. And so my hope is that it becomes, I think we need to answer your specific question, but I think it's almost a more holistic package. One, how do we make it easy for you to use this as a platform so that we can create this as a community? But that's not to pass the buck to the users. We need to also be representative of that. So one thing that I've asked, like, the group within Mixed Reality, we gave them a tour of Altspace to see if they wanted to use our platforms for specifically talking to other African American developers, or being just a place where mixed reality can have a point of contact with underrepresented groups. So I think it's hold us accountable. My hope is that you'll see, I would love if every week there were events specifically around every group, whether it was like LGBT meetup means a lot to me, but I think, one, we're a place for people to come together to find community, but also I hope that we're a place where everybody feels welcome, so that we can try to get outside of our bubble and say, like, hey, here's what I'm going through. Here's, especially now, like, when I talk about having a bad week, like, that's definitely part of the ecosystem that exists right now that all of us are a part of. Like, we're all going through a little bit of trauma, no matter what side you're on. So I think that even now, my hope is that we can be a place that you can either find that community, or you can talk to us directly about the things you care about. So the reason I'm talking, like, I'm trying to think if it would be interesting to think through how to specifically have a space where Altspace is collecting feedback. I mean, we have a lot of different forums, so you can always, like, write us directly, interact on our Discords. But if you ever wanted to host a meetup specifically for us to hear the things that you cared about, and people within specifically your community, like, just invite us. I would show up for that for sure.
Okay. I'm gonna hold you to that. We're actually gonna do that.
Do it. I would love that. It would actually mean a lot to
Awesome.
me. And then I think it helps us stay honest. I hope that we become a giant phenomenon, that Altspace becomes the place where everybody's able to go and meet in live events, and we get so big that this becomes harder, so that we set it up early.
I love it.
It was really
Thank
nice
you.
to meet you.
You too.
How about Brian? You had your hand up for a while. Is there Brian still in the house?
Hello.
How about, as we're getting
Oh, you gave it to me.
Turn to a pumpkin kind of soon, but let's see if Mr. I's around.
Am I on? How do I shut off?
Mr. I 22.
Assalamualaikum.
We're all on unmute.
Yeah, you put a bunch of people on.
Where was it? Mr. I. I can hear you great.
Doesn't work yet, is overwhelming my head. And there are times I've been trying to go and have to lie down when I'm using things. And it's hard to reach things like the world builder or the different things in the menu lying down. Can you make things a bit friendlier for people who are bedridden?
It's a really good point. And I wonder, I'm going back because I know that we had a conversation about ways to improve Altspace so that if you were laying down, there were ways to use the app. I don't know where that left off, but I know that it was something that we cared about. So let me write my team and just see what the status is with that conversation, because I think we need to be accessible, and you also probably don't always. If we are going to be a place for every different kind of person and also an accessible place, that's something we got to figure out.
Thank you very much.
Of course, of course. I'm really enjoying this, so I want to answer a couple more questions. Fire Dog, are you in the house? Fire Dog. All right, how about Artsy? You had your hand up for a while. I'm not sure if you're still here.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hey, Artsy.
Hi. Yes, I want to thank you so much for this space. It's been a lifesaver throughout COVID for me. I did participate in BRCVR,
Oh, you're
and
getting a lot of love.
I am an artist in here, and I have an art gallery, and I specifically made a place for women of color to feel beautiful and loved and cherished. And a lot of people have been to my art gallery. So I'm here to advocate for world builders and finding, more support on getting our worlds featured and in front of, more people. There are a lot of great world builders here, and we just don't have a lot of support from AltSpace to, elevate our creations.
I
And
mean,
so I want to
first,
know,
I don't know if
Yeah.
you have time after this, but after this question, do you mind if I check out your world? Because that sounds amazing.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, let me answer
That
your
would be
question then
great.
first. I think that world building, we need to do more. I think the last release a couple days ago was a step in the right direction. I'm not saying, don't worry, I'm not kidding myself. I know there's a lot to do there. But my hope is that we can make it easier for people to create. The featuring worlds it's a bottleneck on our team. It's a lot of work to check performance and get it featured. I'll be really honest, it's not that we don't care, it's that we haven't figured out a really good way to make that easier on our team. So our hope is to try to give tools to make it easier so that the people can find your world, favorite your world, and then share those worlds, but we need to do more. But totally hear you and happy to pass it on to the team.
Thank you.
Cool.
I'm
All right,
crashing
well,
currently, so I'll have to come back in, but
yeah, I'll wait for you. I'll wait. And do you mind if I invite
Okay.
the group if anybody else wants to come?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Well, we're gonna wait for Artsy to come back. I'm gonna go off of megaphone and on air. Everybody here is really awesome, so please say hello, make some friends. This is one of the best places that I've found that you can kind of meet strangers on the internet, and they're pretty awesome. So thank you so much for your time. I'm here at least once a month. I'll try to get back in the once a week rhythm, but it was great to meet everybody, and thank you for the awesome questions. Stay safe.